Hello, this is TurboDog702 for the Castlevania Symphony of the Night Any Percent tutorial. In this section of the tutorial, we will be discussing the bat version of the Richter skip, in which you use the disappearing bat's hitbox during transformation in order to skip the trigger for the Richter cutscene. Let's go ahead and go right into it. So the basic principle behind this one is you're going to drop the stairway as you would do with most versions of this skip. And we're basically going to align ourselves up on this staircase very specifically, jump through the screen transition, and as we're falling back down through it, turn into a bat. It's very important that we hit the bat at a very particular frame, because during the transformation process, when you turn into the bat, there's actually a point at which you have no hitbox. And what we are trying to do is make it so that the very frame that we zone into this area from jumping up, we don't have a hitbox. And that's going to allow us to basically break the scene and perform the skip. So really quick, just to kind of show it off, what you're going to do is you're going to drop it down. You're going to jump and get on this flat part of the platform. I've seen people do it on the edge or whatever, but this is just how I do it. I get on the flat portion. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a full jump and try to hug the wall that's above me. Now, you're not trying to zone up through it like this. This will actually give you a different trajectory. You're trying to stay on this screen while you're doing this. Some people actually do like short hops to do it, and that's fine as well. But you can't just hit the wall and fall down, because this is actually the incorrect thing. What we've learned, though, is that if you hold the diagonal between down and right, you will actually move just enough to the right that you will set up the correct positioning for the rest of the trick. So what you're going to do is you're going to jump up here, you're going to jump and hug this wall, and down right. Okay? So jump, hug the wall, down right as you're falling. Okay? After this, you're just going to let go. Okay? It's very important that you just let go, because any small movement, like if I do that, or if I went that way or whatever, that's going to mess up your alignment. So you don't want to do that. So you're going to jump, down right, stand up. From here, this is the first major part that people can get wrong. What we're going to do is we're going to do a Buffalo Star Dash 1. However, we need to throw the Buffalo Star a little later than usual. So it's not like Buffalo Star dashing as much as it is, say, backdashing, waiting a moment, and then throwing a Buffalo Star. So it's something like that. And that was actually really good. This is, I believe, the correct frame in order to do the trick. I will be going over some of the frames. I actually have some captured frames that I can show you to give you an idea of what to look for this. But this looks pretty good. Sometimes you'll be a little to the left or a little to the right. If you're even 1 pixel off on this, and sometimes even sub-pixels off, this trick will not work. You have to be in the very specific area. So hopefully I'm in that particular area. From this point, as I mentioned, we're going to jump up, and as we're falling, we're going to be turning into the bat. Something similar to that. I'm trying to exaggerate it so that people can see it. But that's basically what we're going to be doing. Okay. Now you're going to know if you got the correct frame for this transformation and you've initiated the trick if this happens. Let me go ahead and set it up. By the way, you can use pause buffering to set this up. And this looks like the correct frame to me. I'm going to try and set it off. So again, I'm going to use pause buffering to transform on the first possible frame. Yes. Okay. And this is exactly what we're looking for to make sure that the trick is set up correctly. You'll notice that I can see the sky above me because I've broken through the trigger and it never activated. So this scene is acting as though the trigger was never mentioned. It doesn't load the zoning point for the Richter fight, and we're able to get through it just fine. Normally, it would be like this, and the screen would be locked in this position. So for the jumping portion, now that you've gotten this positioning down, hopefully, what you're going to do is you're going to jump straight up as a full jump. A full jump is important because you'll get different animations with a small jump and a different velocity. So what you're going to do is you're going to full jump, and as you're falling, as you're getting closer to the bottom of the screen, you're going to start to pause buffer. And as mentioned in the other one, all you're doing to do that is you press map to bring up the map, and then you're going to press your menu button, which is going to remove the map, and then press map again. But you're going to do that part in very quick succession. So for the PlayStation controller, for example, it's open the map with select, and then start select, and then you can see I can move basically frame by frame to try and pick out the correct frame. Now, hopefully you get good enough to where you don't have to keep doing that over and over, because you really want to try to pull this off as quickly as possible. So you're really trying to pause buffer near the end of it. This particular frame looks very similar to the one I mentioned before, and I'll kind of point that out when I show the screen captures, but this is actually the wrong frame. This is the frame before the right frame. And this is another thing I want to get to, is that it's a very slight variation between one frame and another. And the point is that you just can't get frustrated with it. Just work at it, and I guarantee you, once you get good at pause buffering, or you can even get good at timing this if you get really good at it, you'll be just fine. So basically we're jumping, we're trying to set up the correct frame, which is this, which I'll show in a bigger screenshot at a further in this video. Once we get this frame, the correct frame, we are going to map buffer a bat transformation. So what we're going to do is, with our map up, we're going to hold our bat button, and then while holding the bat button, we're going to press our map button again. And that'll make us transform into the bat on the first frame. Once you've done this, you have basically broken the screen, and I'll kind of just show you real quick what that means. You'll notice that now we actually can break that barrier to the next room. However, we want to do more than just break that barrier. We want to actually get through there fairly quickly. Normally you could just walk into that room, and you would get the Richter cutscene, and you could skip it, and that'd be fine. But you actually move very slowly over towards the elevator in that case. What we're going to try to do is we are going to try to wing smash through the area and end up at the teleporter. So what happens normally, if you're just going through this in a normal fashion, you would get the cutscene.
No, what have I done?
Thank you, Alucard, for saving Richter.
And once it ends, you'll notice that I teleport. I just skipped it there, but you notice I teleport forward. That teleportation, when you skip the cutscene, is going to assist us in getting in through this room. Normally, if you just did wing smashes, you would never reach the other side. And even if you did reach the other side, once you skipped it, you would return back to the center of the room again. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the center of the room as a boost. And how we're going to do that is we're going to wing smash 3 times. The last wing smash being just before the archway, like as close as we can get to it. After we do that and we know that the cutscene's going to start, we immediately start mashing the skip cutscene button. What that'll allow us to do is teleport a slight distance forward, and then the wing smash will continue its momentum and hopefully carry us over to the teleporter. So I'm going to try to show that right now. See, I kind of screwed up there, but I actually went a little further, if you notice, than normal. So let's see if I can do this again. 2. See, I got 2 that time again, but you notice I'm getting further and further, which means that that's less time that Alucard is running. See, at the very worst you get something like that, but that is definitely not what you're looking for. Yeah, see, I'm going to try to force it a couple more times, but yeah. One thing to note is I'm actually doing a very specific setup for this even. A lot of people, when they first do the Richter skip, they immediately come down here and they wing smash. What I don't like about that is this. You pick up the heart max up, it eats your inputs, and it makes it harder for you to progress. So what I do in order to counteract this is I actually come here and I hug this staircase. I'm not trying to hug the contours of it, like change my trajectory, but I'm just using it as a baseline. If I start wing smashing from here, I'll dodge the urn, which means I don't get the heart max up, which means that I won't get my inputs eaten up. Another nice thing is from this position, me personally, I know if I get 3 wing smashes, like I just did there, that's the optimum thing that you can do, I can get right into that tunnel way and teleport through. However, even if I mess up and only do 1 wing smash, I'll be inside the cutscene and that'll be fine. If I do 2 wing smashes, then I will still be okay. The reason... And then if I get 3, I'm in the tunnel. Something to note about this is that you can actually soft lock the game if you head too far to the left before untransforming. So in this case, for example, I've just soft locked the game. And the reason for that is there's a very specific place that Alucard is supposed to jump in order to get into that tunnel via the cutscene. And if you never hit that place, like if he never runs over that area, he just ends up running into this wall and you don't get anywhere. So with that method where you hug the top of the staircase here, if you do 1 wing smash, it's okay, you're just in the cutscene. If you do 2, you'll get a little bit of distance on the cutscene and you won't pass that point where the jump is necessary. And if you hit all 3, great. You know, you're inside the tunnel, you've executed the perfect way to skip. So that's it for the technical portion of, this tutorial. But I'm going to actually show you some of the active frames as I mentioned before, and kind of try to walk you through them a little bit. So, this is the image that I was referring to. It's kind of hard for you to be able to tell, given everything. But what you need to keep in mind is if you look at the images that are closer to the center of the screen, they are quite zoomed in, so hopefully you'll be able to see those just fine. These images were captured by Kaya Nozaki. As I mentioned in an earlier video, my emulator is very bad when it comes to making pixels and capturing them correctly, so I had him capture these, and he actually did a job with setting up the screenshot as well, I think. So, the text kind of says it all here. So on the upper left portion, which we'll call the left side the stair side, the right side we'll call the hair side, let's say. On the left side, you'll notice that there are 3 pictures. The top one is too far to the left, the middle one is just perfect, and the bottom left one is too far to the right. And the big difference is when you look near Alucard's feet. That's the one that I use specifically. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see if Alucard's feet cover the stair that he's next to when you do the Buffalo Star Dash. If you can see a significant portion of the stairs, chances are you don't have the right frame. You'll notice that on the top picture, you can see his feet are on top of the stair. Like, you can definitely see pixels of the stair below his feet very prominently. That's too far to the left. On the bottom picture, you can see the stairs next to his ankles. There's like a pixel of stair poking through between his cape and his ankles. That's too far to the right. Neither of those will work. The one in the center, you'll notice his feet are pretty close to covering the entire stair, and that's the correct frame that you're looking for. Once you get at that specific position, so you've aligned your subpixels by doing that jump, and then you do the right Buffalo Star Dash with the delayed star at the end, you do the full jump. On the right side, I have 4 pictures, and they're basically trying to show off a few things. The bottom 2 are the correct frame, and then the very bottom one is the frame before the correct one. And I wanted to show you both because a lot of people think they get the correct frame and they're actually off by one. So you'll notice on the correct frame, which is the third image on the right, that it has a very, very specific hair pattern associated with it. Look for that hair pattern. That's your best indicator to show that you got the glitch. You'll notice that it's very similar to the first image. The first image is on the wrong subpixel. And the reason that you know that is because the colors are actually different on Alucard's hair. He has a couple extra pixels on it. This will be really hard to spot because chances are if you're in the middle of a run, you're just jumping. You're just like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? If you ever find that, like you think you're on the right pixel and it's just not working, try to align yourself back on the stairs again. Maybe you were a little bit off. The second image is another wrong subpixel. But that one's a little bit easier to distinguish from the others. Now the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the last frame on there, and that's the frame that's before it. If you're really good at map buffering, you should be able to map buffer the next frame, which will give you the correct one, but sometimes that's just not going to happen and you're just going to have to do the jump again. So once again, looking over these images, we are trying to hit the second picture on the left for the stairs, and the third picture on the right. Well, that should do it for just about everything for this trick. I'm going to real quick show it again. I have a summary video for this as well, but I would like to show it off one more time just so that you get a quick summary in this video as well again. So what we're going to do, so we're going to go ahead and fix the screen again because it's been broken this whole time. So what we're going to do, we knock down this switch, we drop the staircase, we jump up. Once we're on the flat part of the stairs, we jump and hold down right against that part to align our subpixels. We stand straight up, Buffalo Star Dash. Check to see if your pixels are aligned correctly. This looks good to me. If you can see a significant portion of the stair that I'm on top of, then chances are you did it wrong. Try again. We jump straight up as high as we can, and on the way down, we pause buffer and try to get the correct frame. Okay, that looks like the correct frame. Alucard's hair is in a very, very particular pattern. I noticed that there's not extra pixels either, so I have the correct one. It's not the wrong subpixel. I hold the bat button, and while holding the bat button, I press map again, and we break it. After we break it, we fly down here, we hug the bottom of this staircase on the flat part, and we try to wing smash so that the last wing smash we do is just before the archway. Once we do that, we are mashing the cutscene skip, and that'll cause us to teleport to the center of the room, so we gain a little bit of distance and go forward. After the skip, Alucard will either run up and do his jump to get to the second castle, or you'll end up inside the tunnel, and you'll have done the best version of the skip. Congratulations, you managed to skip Richter. You skipped a very, very significant portion of the game, probably the one of, if not the biggest sequence break inside of the game. Very comparable with the relic skip as well. But yeah, that'll do it for this video, for this version of the Richter skip using the Bat Relic. This is TurboDog702 for the Castlevania Symphony of the Night Any% tutorial.